on it?
Right,
All right.
your left button.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So this is my slideshow from the 2019 CSSA event in San Luis Obispo, California, hosted by the Central Coast Succulent Society, CCCSS. For those of you that don't know where San Luis Obispo is, it's I think it's about 6 hours, I want to say, below San Francisco, and about 3 or 4 hours from LA. When I got there, this was the scene out of the front door of the hotel. It was a really neat fountain. And just from being in Ohio, since it's so flat here, seeing these mountains was a really nice treat. When I was walking down to the venue to register, just seeing like this mountainside was really, really neat. This was the venue, the Veterans Memorial Hall in San Luis Obispo. Looks kind of small, but it's actually a pretty big place. The second day, they did the different programs that you could decide to do, field trips. I chose to do the private garden tours, and we got picked up at the Veterans Hall, and we got taken to the very first stop, which was in Morro Bay, California. I want to say it was like about half hour from San Luis Obispo. But this was a landscape designer's house that he had bought that was pretty run down. These smaller houses in the town were selling for around $500,000, and these guys who buy them, younger people in Morro Bay, are buying up the houses and fixing them up, adding all these nice details to them, and then they would fix them up and sell them. This was Gabriel Frank's house. He's the owner of Gardens by Gabriel. And I just noted here in the background, this is Steve Guest from West Virginia. He actually came to one of our meetings a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But I ran into him first at the show in St. Louis, the Mid-State show, and it was pretty cool to see him again in California. And this is Gabriel here with the cool hat on. One of the ladies on the bus said he was a hippie. And when I got there, when I saw him, I was like, wow, he kind of does look like a hippie, but he had a really cool hat. First thing I said was, I like that hat. But this was part of the landscape around the house. It was really awesome. Did a really nice job. I named some of the plants that are in here. Cactus Succulent, which is bear's britches, which Bill actually sells here at Klein's. These flowers last a really, really long time, and we can grow these here in the shade, maybe part sun.
Yeah, but the Mollis I don't do because that's more of a zone 6.
Oh, okay.
Spinosus is hardier for Ohio.
Spinosus, all right.
Has the same showy flower and sort of prickly foliage.
Well, where you can keep it contained.
Mollis has the like more broader leaves, I would say.
They're very similar.
Okay. Down below in the middle here is Echeveria Afterglow. This is always one of my favorite Echeverias. I didn't know that they get this big. They're really neat, Echeveria. And then Agave attenuata variegata, which he has all over the property. One of the plants that's down in here that's finishing off blooming, I had at the greenhouse over the summer, Senecio candicans Angel Wings. It's kind of looks like a Dusty Miller. It has a broad leaf. It's a pretty neat plant. So a few other varieties of Echeveria down here. I'm not quite sure what some of these agaves are. And then, yeah, that one in the middle is agave. Or no, the one in the middle there's an aloe right here. Can you guys see my cursor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's some other hybrid aloes.
Ferox.
Ferox. This picture turned out so dark, and I was kind of upset because there's so much color in there, and I tried to change it, but I tried to like filter, but you really couldn't without messing it up. So I didn't do anything with it. Here's another part of the yard. He had a tree service bring a log in, and they set it right in the one of the areas that he had set up, and then just kind of planted around it with a rock in there. Looks really neat. There's that echeveria from the last picture. I'm not sure which variety this is, but it looks so nice in the sun. Really cool one. And these are echeveria canti. These things, another really big echeveria. These are like the size of a basketball.
Wow.
Really cool plant. And like the picture doesn't really do it justice. When you see them in real life, it's like really nice.
Looks like topsy-turvy in the background.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Ragnonii. And then maybe Gibiflora here. And then this one is, I know the name of this one too. I'm not going to be able to think of it right now. Oh, Tippy. That's very Tippy. And I have one of these. Those are really nice. Pacivaria powder puff, growing in the ground, but I have trouble growing it in a pot. And out there, just in the ground with mulch around it, they do great. That's another one that's got some really nice colors. This was like the favorite plant out of his entire landscape. This is the Bucarnia recurvata ponytail palm, which those you can find around, fairly common, but these variegated, they're like very, very hard to find. I wish he would have like pulled away some of this foliage underneath to show off the caudex, so you could really tell what it is. But that was definitely my favorite plant, and a lot of other people that were on the garden tour were really into that one. So here we're out front. Our bus forgot to pick us up. I think they had like double booked, so they were running back and forth to all these other locations to move people around. This was kind of out by the road too, on the way down the driveway. When I discovered this plant out there, I finally found one for sale at a nursery. It's Crassula prenosa. I have some at the shop, but they're really nice plant, and they're tough too. Definitely one of my favorites that I found on that trip. And then down below here, some type of Aeonium, which I was not able to find a name for. And then the one up above it is Sunburst, which is pretty common out there. You see a lot of that in landscapes. So we got down by the street, and we're waiting and waiting for our bus, and finally saw this bus came along, a hippie bus, and gave us a ride to our next stop in Los Osos, California. And right when we got out of the bus at this stop, I noticed this plant here growing on the hillside, and I was immediately drawn to it. Found out just recently from the internet that it is called Banksia speciosa, and it's a protea, native to south coast of Western Australia. These can get 26 feet tall. The foliage is really cool on these. Same with the flower. Looks like the flowers, even after they lose their color, they hang on for a long time. These people were artists. We did not meet the owners of this house. One of the landscape designers gave us the tour of the yard. They had all kinds of fancy decorations in the yard. There's another large leaf plant here that I was not able to figure out what it is, but it looks really neat. This is another plant that really caught my eye when we were out there. I noticed that a lot of people were using this for a ground cover on border edges in their landscapes. They mentioned the name on the walk through the landscape, and I could not remember it. I didn't have any way to write it down, but later on in the trip, I stopped at a Home Depot, and I was just looking at the ground covers, and there it was, Diamondia marguerite. It was a really cool plant. It was super soft. Like you could walk all over, and I don't think it would hurt it. Maybe like could be one of the steppable varieties. I did not see what zone that it's hardy to on the label. Here's another art piece that was in the yard. It's crazy fish, and then there's some kind of poem on here. It was actually a pretty neat poem. Another agave variegata tenuata. This is a really neat one to see up close. I have one of these, not this big though, agave ivory curls, which is a fairly new hybrid. I know that Plant Delights Nursery in one of the Carolinas carries it. Dikea burgundy ice. I have a few potted plants of this too, but to see it planted in the ground was pretty neat. Here's some more echeverias. Agavoides lipstick, which I would love to have either one of those and break them all apart. And same with this one here, which is Agavoides ebony. I had no idea that they grow in clustering mounds like this. They're really cool. Another plant that's used a lot in California, maybe more Southern California, was a kangaroo paw. All different colors, and they really add some nice interest to the landscapes out there. Not quite succulent, but they'll be considered an arid plant.
Xeric plant, yeah, xerophyte. Yeah, these are, yeah, it does say Australia, yeah.
And part of the bloodwort family. I think these flowers last for up to a month or more. Cool plant. Echeveria sea dragon. This was
Oh, that's nice.
out on, yeah, that's a cool one. I actually had a couple of these that I got through Altman, and I put them in some display planters, but even in the ground, they're just like an eye catcher walking by with all those bumps on there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a cool one. So a little bit more of the Agavoides ebony. The sun really brings out the dark color on the edges of the leaves on these. This rock was like the size of like a car. I don't know how they got it in there, but really cool. Next stop was in Pismo Beach, California. This, like, where you get in this bus and like you're like facing everyone, and the seats are facing inward. So you're talking and just like kind of lose track how long it takes to get from place to place. But this one seemed like really long, like a 45, maybe 50-minute drive. This house, same thing. We did not get to meet the owners, but the landscape designers were there, and they kind of walked us through. This house was so cool, though. Out this window, there's the ocean, and they have all these little areas of grass, like up in these little hills. And it looked like putting green grass, little like chairs set out and little tables, all these little different nooks that you could hang out in. Here's one of them right here. Pretty neat setup. Here's an aloe actualetta. Aculeata, thank you. And this is actually a video, but I don't see where I can click to play it. Maybe if I click on the picture. Oh, there it is.
It's on the bottom.
So this was walking up the driveway. You just look out over, and ocean's right there. Really neat. Aeonium sunburst. And I think this is their irrigation. Agave perii truncata. Pachycereus shoti monstros, which is totem pole. This was a neat little collection of plants. I think this one's oviferum. This is a euphorbia and sedum. What's that one from Altman's called? Sedum.
Oh, Firestar?
Thank you. Yeah, Firestar. Pretty neat. Here's another nice little landscape off to the side of the driveway. They had like 3 or 4 of these in their yard, and they're like, you really can't tell the size of them from the pitch, but they're huge. They're definitely like for us around here, like a Japanese maple is nice to have in the yard, but these things, geez, they had a lot of them. This is their Japanese maple. This one's got a little bit of sun stress on it. Looks really cool. There's another one. I do not know what this plant is. It looks like an agave, but also looks like an aloe. No clue. But really, really cool plant. You think that's like a cross between a aloe and an agave? I don't know if you can even, if that's even.
No, it probably is an agave.
Yeah. Really cool. Echeveria blue waves. This was really small, but on the border edge, you'd be able to see. But if you had this further in the landscape, you wouldn't be able to see it. They're real tiny. They have the California flag and American flag. It looked really cool on the side, mountainside. And it really goes way up there. Look at all these little trees up here. It's pretty high up. This is more of the driveway. The driveway like kind of serpentined up to the house. This is a Crassulivata jade, huge shrub. Another, or I think this is Aloe marlothi. And then some more clumping aeoniums. Nice aloe. Senecio serpens. The color blue on these from that California sun was just gorgeous. Purple tips. Nice looking plant. Opuntia robusta, which has like a powder blue tint to it. And huge. I think they call this the dinner plate Opuntia. I forget the name.
Aloatia.
Aloatia. Bill has some of these out in his greenhouse right now. They're really cool. Aloe polyphilus. This is the first one of these that I've seen in real life. And it's tiny. It doesn't show like the spiral in the center yet, but the landscapers worry about getting aloe mite. So they're constantly going from aloe to aloe and treating them.
Just a comment on the polyphila. This is one of the frost hardy aloes, very, very difficult to grow here in Ohio. So it actually comes from the slopes of Kilimanjaro.
I get people ask me that for that one all the time. Villa Moriana stained glass. They call this the octopus aloe or agave, octopus agave, sorry, because of the long arms. After we left that house, we stopped at the park for lunch. It was a beautiful day. I was like 70 degrees, cool breeze coming off the ocean. They had a bunch of like pre-boxed lunches for us. It's really nice. And after that, we made our last stop on the garden tour in San Luis Obispo. And this lady's house was really, really nice. She was also a potter as well as a collector. So she would make her own pots. She had some for sale at the house in the backyard. She had a little greenhouse. But it was fun going to check this place out. All kinds of different stuff in here. Aeoniums. This plant right here, I zoomed in on for the next slide, which is really cool. Callistemon citrinus. They call it crimson bottle brush.
Another Australian.
Yeah, that's a cool looking plant. And the flowers on here are just finishing off, but they are shaped like a bottle brush. You can kind of see on here the center of the flower that's left on the plant. Oops. Here's an agave titanoa that was out in the full sun. You can see it's kind of stressed. Nice looking colors on that one. Here's some Echeveria raindrops. These were so neat. I have these in pots, like 4-inch pots, and seeing these in the ground, they were just spectacular, huge, huge plants. And the leaves on them were just super thick and healthy. Looked so nice. Oops. Some more aeonium. These are hard for me to identify just because there's so many, especially with the green center and purple edge. If I had to guess, maybe Cyclops.
I doubt it.
Okay.
Too much green.
Yeah.
But there's so many hybrids, including unnamed hybrids. It'd be hard to say.
Mm-hmm. Really cool though, seeing them mounded like that. She had this really neat lizard going up the driveway. A local welder was making these. And then this is like going into the backyard, put like most of her collection that she had. But these are the style pots that she made. That's a Portulaca. It's an ISI plant. I'm not sure which Portulaca it is. It's hard to read the tag. That's a really cool one. Here's some more neat stuff. Cryptanthus. Syngia.
Ninja.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to say that's a Euphorbia or
Okay.
Pachypodium. This is a neat Echeveria Delight. There's that Synginia.
Athona.
Athona capensis.
What is that?
Athona capensis.
Oh, that's cool.
Well,
Yeah.
this is this is a cultivar. Capensis itself is green leaves, yellow flowers. This one also has yellow flowers. And I actually got this cutting from you on this one, but this is a cultivar of it. And I forget the cultivar name. Nice hanging basket plant.
Oh yeah, they grow fast too, really fast. There's some more of these. I love these square pots that she makes. They're so neat. But by the time I got back to the backyard, there was like 4 or 5 pots left. I did end up picking up one, but I didn't get any squares. Really neat Calancho here. Is that a crested Pachypodium?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's Calanquis and Sepala right there.
And Horthia truncata.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she had some really cool stuff. Astrophytum. I think this is Onzuka. Astrophytum Onzuka. This one too, same thing. I wish I could read this tag because I would like to get that. That's a really neat cactus. All I can see is
Artego cactus,
Artego.
South American.
Thank you. That's a cool one. Do you have one of those?
No.
No. Echinopsis schefflianus. I have a couple grafts like this. I started with one and I've been taking pieces off and regrafting them. And then a Cainocereus here in the background.
No, I think that's Norocactus magnificus, isn't it? Or-
No, that's a Cainocereus.
Is it?
Yeah. This is a Puya. I guess there's like 2 varieties, and this one that she had on the back table was like pretty hard to find. There was a few guys that were like pretty like heavy duty collectors, I would say, and they were just like fascinated standing around this plant for a while talking about it. Adromiscus. It's a really neat plant. Horthia limifolia variegata. There's some pretty cool, I think this starts with a G, Gibifarium,
Gerbeum.
and there's part of a
Sansevieria.
Sansevieria hanging down over the top. And then back in the back here, it looks like Horthia donut. Windows installer no longer. Oops, what did I do?
What did you shouldn't have done that.
No.
I don't know what happened here. I don't know.
So Windows and
Our end.
you guys can still see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe you minimized your window because it looked like there's a black stripe at the top and bottom.
There it is.
There.
Thank you. All right. Here's another cool one. Euphorbia Debel. I can't read that. There's a Wigginsia on the side here. This is a cool plant, though. The Euphorbia. Euphorbia paucini.
Buplurifolia.
Or that's it, yeah. And then Chrysosetum, which I have these at the shop. And this is a Pelargonium.
Cephalon and Tandra.
Yeah, that's what I have right there. This one. And then Pelargonium. This was Friday. I woke up in the morning, put on the news, Woody Minich on TV advertising the show and sale before I could even get down there. But when I got to the sale, it was packed. Woody Minich is part of the CSSA, and he's also a speaker. Really great guy. He does a lot of talks. He was at this one. He didn't have any lectures though, and then he was at the Mid States in St. Louis, and he pretty much like was the main speaker for the whole thing. He took over for someone else that couldn't make it. This was the tent outside. I think this was like the second day after the plant sale was open, so there was still a decent amount of stuff left. But opening day, like underneath the tables, everything was loaded. A lot of stuff like left out of there, and down here at this far end, there was tables going across, and there were the checkout lanes, and everything's barcoded, which makes the lines go pretty fast. I was just fascinated with these graphs. So most of the pictures from the sale are these graphs. I hope you guys aren't too upset about that, but there was a lot of neat ones in here. Let me know if I'm going too fast. There's a lot to look at in there. Some of these get pretty pricey too. $50 for this guy here. Boss Feldiano Lilliputana. They had Geometrics and Stacker back here. 125. Yeah, I think these all were, here's one for 100, and then the others were 125. Myrtillo cactus, Geometrics and Stackers, like super popular cactus. Even grafted, expensive and very, very hard to find. I stay more towards like the $20 stuff, so if I lose it, I don't feel bad. Here's some of the containers. This is the one from the lady that was a potter that we went to her house on the garden tour. These two right here are done by Katoy, which he's pretty well known on Instagram for his containers. He does some really, really nice work. And then this one I grabbed off of Woody Minich's table. I don't know who did this pot though. And then these guys I found, these are Mike Cohn pottery, and Mike Cohn's stuff was available in Cambria at a little nursery that I went to. This was day 4. The speaker was Kelly Griffin, the aloe hybridizer. He also works for Altman Plants. His topic was aloes of South Africa, and it was a record attendance. It doesn't look like a lot of people here, but if you see where Kelly's standing, it's pretty far over there. There's a pretty good sized group here. He brought some of his plants that like that he's hybridized and had them on the table up front to look at after everything was over. And you could see how big this hall was too, the Veterans Hall. This was at the closing banquet, and they have at a lot of the CSSA and even the Mid-States events, they do this live auction. People will bring plants. I don't know if the club pays for them or if the people that bring the stuff are donating them to the club, but they sell them off and part of the proceeds go towards the club. This plant, I wanted to see if anyone was willing to guess what something like this would sell for.
500.
Close.
650.
$1,000.
Wow.
The auction, it was funny. They just go back and forth, and finally it ended. But it was funny to see people bidding on it. Once it got way up there, it got pretty intense. But the plant is an Areocarpus retusus elongatus.
Where does the money go?
I'm assuming that the people who bring the plants are donating them, and then when they sell at the live auction, that the proceeds are going to benefit the club. is the way I understood it. That's the way they did it in St. Louis at the CSSA events. The money could go to CSSA. They did say at the thing, I know it went to benefit one of the clubs. It was either the host club or CSSA.
Generally CSSA.
Yeah.
This is a national convention.
This is a little nursery that I stopped at in Cambria, which was like a little, I want to say coastal town, about an hour or so away from San Luis Obispo. This place was great. They had a lot of nice echeverias. I found a few hybrids that I didn't have here. I was really fascinated by the plants that they can use in California in their landscapes. I've never seen anything like this one before. Colonemia pulchrum. This was
Caprosmia.
Caprosmia. Pink splendor. And Gravila Kingfire. I know this blooms, and I'm assuming that it's because it's called Kingfire.
Yeah, most of these are Australian.
Are they?
Mhm.
It's a cool plant. Nice foliage. So one of the questions I always thought to myself was, do the box stores out in California have better cactus and succulent selection than what we get out here? And it's hard to say still, like even after I visited a few out there, basically the same types of stuff was out there, but what we don't get out here is a lot of these bigger pots. Like these are all Aeonium Mardi Gras. There's some big aloes back here too. We get a few of these types of things, but not as much. And then the small trays, ours are on these pallet racks, and the stuff at the bottom just does not look as nice. They knew how to put them out here, and they had them out where they could get some light on them. This is that Cambria nursery, or it's a nursery in Cambria. It's not really even a nursery. It was called Grow, but they call it a nursery. But they had some really nice succulents. They also had rocks too, which was pretty cool to see. I noticed at the show and from online pictures that a lot of people add these minerals to their plantings when they stage plants. It was neat to get some of this kind of stuff. Desert Rose. This was the, so you walk through like 3 different shops, and then you come out to this courtyard behind the plaza. And this was like their little outdoor nursery area, which is really neat. They just had stuff all over the place. Nice display, tractor, some driftwood up here. I stopped for lunch at this restaurant. It's called the Moonstone Bar and Grill. It was right on the ocean. I got mussels. It was a really nice place. Wish I could go there again and have some of those mussels. Right after this, I got out of San Luis Obispo area and went south. I really like this picture here. I just wish that said south on it because that's the way I was heading. Here's gas prices in California. $4.19. This was last end of July. Kind of expensive. This is just a picture from the freeway with no traffic, which is probably didn't last long after that. Another nursery I went to in Southern California, Grigsby Cactus. This place is like a legend. This is their sign out front. They've been around for a long time. Mr. Grigsby had this land in Vista, California, where it was his private like outdoor collection, and he would bring his family here on weekends, and he would plant stuff out and grow stuff, and then it eventually ended up turning into a place that sold potted plants that they grow from seed, and they still grow everything there in-house from seeds that they collect from the plants that they have. I'm sure they maybe bring in some stuff too.
Dave Grigsby, in 1986, when we held the Eastern Regional meeting, Dave was one of the speakers. He came in, and Frank Kachenko, I don't think anybody in the club would remember Frank. He went to ATI, and he actually did his student work experience at Grigsby Nursery.
So cool. The girl that helped me out there started there as her college summer job, and she was explaining to me that she got there and it was going to be just for the summer, and then she's like, that was 30 years ago. She's been there for quite some time. She loves the place. This is really cool. When you go to enter the place, they have a fence gate going across. Honk 3 times for entry. I thought, I was like, this has got to be a joke or something. I pull up and it doesn't just open automatically, so I honk the horn, and no one was coming for about 5 minutes, and then finally the lady came down the driveway and opened up. She's like, what are you here for? I was just to look around, maybe get some plants. Like, come on in. It was really neat. This is one of the aloe trees that they've had on the property for years and years, and for some reason it was dying. She said that this has happened with a few other aloe trees that they've had on the property, which is kind of sad. This is right outside their office. Like this, you can see part of the gutter edge of the building right here. This is their office, and this is probably about 10 feet away from the door. Ciba speciosa, soap floss tree. It's hard to tell from the pictures, but the whole tree is covered in these giant spikes. Really mean looking tree.
It is considered a succulent.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool tree. Like, I would like to have a miniature one. This is another aloe tree, and I think this one's called Hercules.
Yeah.
Pretty neat tree. I'm not sure what this was, but it was pretty cool. You can see like the size of the trunk right here on it. This was Myrtillo Cactus geometricans.
And it looks like the crustate form.
Yep. And I zoomed in on it right here. Like you can see throughout the plant, there's crests here and there. There's one. Different. It was huge. Maybe like 15, 20 feet tall. Then look at the alawadias behind there. Those are huge too. These are just random plantings around their greenhouses. You walk through these dirt trails, and the place is completely open. You can walk through everything. They'll even let you in the greenhouses where they grow stuff from seeds, which is pretty neat to see. Here's some euphorbia. This is an opuntia, and it turned into
Nopalia.
Which one is it?
No, it's an opalia.
Opalia?
Nopalia.
Opalia? It looks kind of like opuntia.
Well, it's another genus
All right.
in the Opuntia.
Opalia. Cool. Cool tree. There's some more. I think these are euphorbia back here. There's the aloe tree that's dying. It's massive. Some euphorbia mac, aloadia. Pretty neat. These are mammillaria.
Gymnospina.
Oh, you know which variety it is?
Mammillaria gymnospina.
Gymnospina. Thank you. And then this is out front. This is one of the like classic pictures that you see on Instagram a lot. This is their Sansevieria hut, which I did not walk through. I just took a picture. I think there was like something blocking the door. But I don't know why it said wish letter plants.
Because they send a wish letter once a month.
Oh, really? They
Special plants.
That's pretty cool. They don't do that anymore. They send out a email once in a
Well, it's probably
while.
that's what this is. Yeah.
Wish letter plants. Euphorbia polygona. There's me in one of the shade house. I tried taking a selfie outside in front of it. It was so bright. It didn't really turn out. And then in this, it was so hot out that day. Like this was like it was like, felt like air conditioning in here because it was so well shaded. A little bit more of their propagation house. You all right there, Tammy? This is they had this table where this is like the little room where you check out, and the unique specimens, and all these you could buy, and the prices on them were super reasonable, but I just didn't know how I would get something like this home. But I think like this big one in the pot right here, I want to say was like $70. These down here were like 40, like very reasonably priced. This last stretch of pictures that I have is some mixed nurseries and places I stopped at in Southern California. One of them was Altman's. I want to say this is Euphorbia Mac. Nice backdrop for their sign though. This is I think one of the truck entrances. And this nursery is a drive-through nursery. You can drive through in your car or truck or whatever, and certain things that are small enough that you can get in your car, you can put in the trunk or whatever, and then you just drive it up front and pay for it as you go. I don't know how anyone in a car would get something like this in there, but they had all kinds of big potted plants, some big aeoniums. This was a huge shade house that you could actually, there was like 2 different roads underneath this you could drive through. So here's some of the stuff outside. Pachycereus. Here's another Geometricins crested form. They build these wood boxes for a lot of their stuff too, which is pretty neat. There are signs everywhere that says, we do not sell wooden boxes. Agaves, it's pretty neat. Here's some of the aloes that they had. This was down in San Diego. It took me about a half hour to find a place to park, but I'm glad I did and walked around the historic part of the town. It was really neat. These are a few backyard nurseries that I stopped at. Some of the stuff that I picked up. There's that Crassia that I mentioned earlier. I really, really like this plant. It's not very popular for me at the shop, but I really love it, and it's tough as nails. Variegated Christmas cactus. And then this was my favorite find of the whole trip, Gasteria batsiana variegata. This is a fairly new aeonium right here called Fiesta. Kind of resembles Mardi Gras, a little bit different. That's a neat one. And then over here is Mondenium with the white variegation. A little close up of the Getz area. The guy from this nursery, he was getting ready to do a plant sale in Orange County. And I had my CSSA badge on. I wore it to a lot of places just so people that would know that I was from out of town and I was a collector. And they responded pretty well. I was invited into the greenhouse where the sale plants were, and I was able to pick a few things out of there. So I don't think I would have, if I didn't have that badge on, I don't think I would have gotten that plant. Here's another nursery that I stopped at, which is really cool. They had a lot of Obessa. Most of these are used for seed. They were huge. I tried to buy one, and you absolutely cannot buy one. This flower turned out not even looking like what it actually looks like in the photo. This was like a royal blue. It just stood out so much, but in the picture it just doesn't show the actual color, which I was kind of disappointed. Some Trichocereus burgessii, and a little bit of Bill's favorite down here, some Oxalis. This looked like an area where they had some stuff that they grow from seed. Some big pachypodiums. A little bit more of like a propagation area. Pachypodiums again. I had to zoom in on those.
Namaquensis.
Namaquensis. Yeah, those are nice looking. Can't bring those back to Ohio though. These are some lithops, the seedling trays, and they're like, I want to say like 15-inch by 15-inch square flat trays. And these are how they grow the seeds. And it was just amazing to see these things. They look like they go on forever. I did some different angles of these. It's pretty neat to see that. This was like a little like outdoor back area. It looks like there's some stuff that got away from, but even just the way it's set up out here, it looks so cool. A lot of interesting stuff to look at. Some more of those Pachypodiums again. I think I switched out a couple photos and left those, but they're still nice to look at. Namaquensis. There's some more aloe trees.
Hercules.
Hercules. Yeah. I think that's it.